Hey, thanks, Brian. Appreciate everybody coming out. You can tell my voice is sort of in mid-camp form already after day one. That might give you a little indication. You probably don't even need to ask how practice was. Just hear my voice, and you can interpret it how you make. But did get off to a great start this morning. Excited to get our guys back on to camp along with a lot of the newcomers. We've had a great summer. We've had a great spring. Time will tell if some of the newcomers will answer some of the questions that we have in a few critical positions. First impression of some of the newcomers today and after this morning's practice were positive, and we'll just sort of see how they progress. A lot of people tend to look really good in helmets. When you add the shoulder pads and the pants and you start going full speed, things tend to change. But first impression has been really, really good. I think our kids are in decent shape. I thought they came out today, worked hard, and we'll have to have a great camp. It's our boot camp, really. We're in basic training, getting ready, for our first game. To me, getting ready for one of the toughest schedules that I've ever been a part of. And when I say that, it all starts with only 5 home games, 7 on the road, and then you look at the opponents that we're playing on the road as well. And so, critical schedule, tough schedule, demanding as far as making your schedules, because we're playing 2 Tuesday games, a Thursday game, 2 open dates, and quite a long schedule, as our last game is not even until December the 7th, a week longer than last year. And so, challenging schedule there. I'm anxious to see how this team can keep tunnel vision and keep taking it one game at a time, which I thought over the last 2 years that we've been pretty good at doing. We'll need some critical leadership on the defense side of the ball to step up. I think offensively right now, with Terrence Broadway and Andre Duval, I think we've got 2 of the better leaders in the country on the offense side of the ball. Defensively, we've got some candidates, but nobody that is quite as strong as a personality as Broadway or Duval yet. There are some candidates. So over the course of the next few weeks, I'm hoping that some of those guys will develop. And then obviously in the kicking game, which to me is most important, I'm anxious to see how some of the new kickers and come along and progress. They definitely have some talent. We'll see if they've got ice in their veins or not, like Brett Bear seemed to have. But time will tell. So excited to get started for camp. It's hot, and but it wouldn't be camp if it wasn't hot. So I think we'll have a great camp. Hopefully we can stay healthy. That's going to be one of the most important things that we do, to me, is keeping our key players healthy and developing depth over the next 3 weeks before the end of the game week. So with that, I'll open up any questions.
How concerned are you at this point about your defense?
Well, I think anytime, if you look and see where we ranked last year, which was not very good in pass defense, that concerns you. Total defense at times last year, and some things we did, obviously that was a concern. That's why we made some changes, and only time will tell if we're better. I think our preparation has been outstanding at this point. I think we've recruited to fill some voids on the defense side of the ball that we felt like we may have had. So time will tell if that has been addressed. And but I will say this: I think we have more depth on the defensive side of the ball than we had last year. We weren't playing very many guys last year on the defensive side of the ball.
Coach, you've been very good at creating depth, as you just said, but at that quarterback position, you don't have really a solid number 2, and that's something that you've had in the past. Can you talk about those backups?
Yeah, the last 2 years with Chris Mason, he had a critical role year 1 in that season, and then last year Terrence coming off the bench for Lane Goshen. The difference is these 2 kids right now, they're battling for the back spot with Brooks Hack and Shea Landor. They're talented. I don't question their talent. They're throwing the ball well. They both have good mobility. It's game experience. It's quite simple. It's how are they going to react when live bullets are flying. And right now they're just out there, people just throwing spit wads at them. So there's a big difference when you get in front of wild boats. And so we'll see. But any player has to take their first snap eventually and get better and learn. And I think they'll get better as they get snaps.
In the spring, you talked a lot about just the anticipation of getting trim and towing in. Now that you've had a first day with them, just your impressions of what you saw in this first day.
Sort of like what I said earlier, I think in helmets, they look really good today. They look really good. I think they can compete. I thought Sean Thomas and Javante Watson both looked really good today. But once again, we're just in helmets, and I've learned, I consider myself somewhat of an older coach now. I don't like to admit it, but I've learned that typically in camp, don't get too excited or too down the first day or two. Once you sort of get the full pads on, then things sort of tend to change, and you see your real players and playmakers sort of rise to the top, and the guys that you think can play, they normally are there, and the guys that you may have some question marks about, typically sometimes are not. So, but I'm hoping some of the new kids, will give us immediate help.
You've had a spring and a summer now with Coach Willis. What has really stood out to you about his preparation, just how he attacks?
Work ethic, bar none. He's, I think if there's ever a guy that dots the I, crosses the T, that's been James. Very organized. Our staff's very detailed. He demands a lot of those guys. They've met more as a defensive staff than we've met as an entire staff in the last year. They're all on the same page. They know what they've got to do, and I think he's got a good handle on the players that we have. Now it's just his job now to mold a bunch of individuals and put them together as one unit, and that's always the key, is finding your best 11, not your 11 best, your best 11, and getting those guys all playing together.
Coach Jay mentioned about Montrell Carter being kind of a newcomer. What do you expect from him, being that he went out so early last year?
Well, missing so much really probably is a little bit of a setback. It's not like he got to play 4, 5, 6 games. He went out before the first game. I expect it'll probably take him a little while just to get the speed of the game back, get comfortable on taking a hit on that leg, planning, accelerating through the line of scrimmage. Probably just some typical things that anybody coming off an ACL surgery might experience. But the one thing that he has is speed. And after talking to Coach Witt, they feel like the speed is back from his work this summer. The speed, has returned. He does have, I think, exceptional speed, and we've got to find a way to utilize that speed. And hopefully we can get him on the field and he can remain healthy and just get more comfortable with that, with his leg.
With Terrence, and I asked you the same thing. He's showing up on some of the national watch lists, and he played so much last year that he's not going to surprise anybody this year. So how does he balance trying to live up to that, but also not worried about the height?
Terrence does it. A lot of that stuff doesn't phase him. That's one thing I like about him. I don't know if he even notices half that stuff. I don't think it really phases him. I will say this: he's all about the bottom line. I think that's winning games, and I think he wants to be known for that, leading his team to victories. And I think he understands if he does that, a lot of these other accolades will come along with the job of being a winning quarterback. And so luckily he doesn't let a lot of that go to his head. He's very grounded, good father, good teammate, good leader. I just think he is what you want to be as your education quarterback.
Mark, this season, I know after the last 2 years, people know who you are now. You get the preseason pick. Expectations way up this year versus the last 2. I know that's what you wanted, but mentally, how's the team registered all that?
Well, I hope they're also realistic. Expectations are high, and why would you not want high expectations? If you don't want high expectations, you don't want to compete at a high level. You don't want to compete for championships, and that's what we want to compete for. But also on the opposite end of that is our team's got to understand that expectations can only be met with preparation, proper preparation. And just because we were something preseason, that will not get you the postseason. Proper preparation, commitment, everybody doing their job, that's how you achieve and reach some of those expectations, which are very high. Some too high, maybe, some maybe not high enough, but you know, we've got a job to do, and that's win one game at a time. And that's like I tell our team, we don't have to win all 12 games next week. That's not our goal. And each week, 1 week at a time, our goal is to win the next game. And we just got to find a way to win that game. Not all 12, just the next game. And if we can keep that in proper perspective and just continue to work with a great work ethic and practice with relentless effort, then I think we'll have a chance to improve weekly, especially as a lot of our young guys start getting reps and game experience.
Kind of playing off of that, this is your first year that you play a quote-unquote big boy to start the year. How much will that help with just having that chip to kind of dangle in front of the guys?
Well, you know, if that didn't motivate you to get out of bed all summer long to go work out and run, I don't know what will, because they're going to be very prepared, very talented team. Coach Malina's done a great job where he's done, obviously, the most recently at Wisconsin, and they're going to be a very physical team. I can probably tell you what I think they're going to do right now. We're going to have to answer the bell, because I think they're going to be very talented, very tough. They're going to feed off his mentality, and it's going to be a huge challenge for our team. And but who doesn't like a great challenge? And going to play in a great venue on national TV. And so to me, it'll be an exciting time for our program and for our football team. And you know, once again, another measuring stick, so like Florida last year, to see if we're making progress. And see, we'll find out, run out the bat real quick, and see if we still have some answers that we need to fill.
Got time for two more.
Do you think it's an advantage or disadvantage because they had, Arkansas, I'm talking about, had such a poor year last year that you're leading off the season with them?
Well, you know, like I told our team, and I tell everybody else, is that last year team, you know, to me, that was sort of a train wreck. That was not indicative of where they have played football in the last 10 years there at Arkansas. You look what led up to that, I mean, how good they were, then had that one drop-off season. That to me does not tell me they're not a good football team. That just tells me that they just had a little blip on the radar screen. I guarantee you that Coach Malina's rallied the troops, circled the wagons, and I can guarantee you that everybody in the state of Arkansas is back on the Kool-Aid. And those players are going to be anxious to show that they were better than what they were last year. I promise you that. So they've got an outstanding team, a lot of good players.
Last question.
Coach, how far is that North Pole victory in the rear view for your team?
Can't even see it. Don't even know where it is. We're just now, we're way past that.
Okay.